Well, how we doing? I'm on camera again. It's me, my old ugly ass. It's Monday, the 21st? I almost said it's the 21st. I could be wrong. Hell, who knows? 20th, 21st, it's somewhere on there. No, it's the 21st. Yesterday was the 20th. That's how I remember. Yeah, 21st. It's going to be a lot quieter around here. I sold all my goats. And I might eventually maybe get a couple or something like that. But I'm pretty much out of the goat business. Too many things right now that's more important than buying medication and buying feed all the time and everything else. So that's going to save me a little bit. We've already taken down part of the fencing area for them. I'm going to use some of the fencing that's majority of the fencing that we've taken down. It was already kind of messed up anyway, so we just spouted it up, compressed it, and eventually we're going to haul that in for scrap metal. The rest of the type of the fencing, there's a couple pieces of cattle panel, which I will use those for a repurpose thing. And then I had some concrete wire that I had stretched out to make like a higher end piece to keep them from jumping over the smaller side kind of fence and everything else, which I will probably repurpose the concrete wire as well, whether it be for like tomato cages or something like that, some kind of a cage of some sort, and yeah, just do it that way. I have been working on restructuring my frontal garden area. Still got to do a few more things before I can actually say I'm done with it, but it's nothing major. The hardest parts has already been done. Basically got to fill my beds up. Actually, first I got to position my beds the way I really want them, then fill them up, and probably within about a week-ish. Well, yeah, it won't be this week. It'll be next week sometime. So maybe next weekend I'll start putting some plants in, and I gotta get me a couple of ground layers like tarps, or maybe a few more larger sections of like a mat go down. I'll spin the camera and show you. That is what I had purchased, which you only see the top of it. That is my 20-foot long, 10-foot wide, about 8-foot tall hoop/greenhouse. It's not the best quality of a structural form, but it's going to work. And if nothing else, if it lasts one season, it'll be beneficial to me, because I got that to plant all my hot peppers in, so that way they'll produce faster, and I can get more peppers for hot sauce, more peppers for chili powder, or maybe more well, inside there is mainly going to be the hottest of hot peppers. And the good thing about it too is, since it's going to be covered, there won't be no spread contamination of hot pepper with mild pepper and everything else. It's all going to be confined in one little area. And not only that, I am going to have some tomato plants in containers, and then towards the end of the season I can bring them inside there and extend the life of my tomatoes. And yeah, I'll have tomatoes even after some people are like tomato-less. So it is what it is. I had planned on getting a pool this year, a new one, and that's not going to happen. The one I was watching on online for months, it was like $700. And the day all the tariffs kicked in and everything else, it went from a $700 pool to like $1,000+ pool. And I'm just not going to do it this year. I got other more important things to worry about. And plus, on top of it, we have a large creek that runs 4 miles down the road this way. You know, there's Saunders Springs up about another 8-10 miles another direction. My in-laws have a great big pool. She's like, you know, nobody comes over anymore. If, you know, if the kids want to come over and jump in the pool and whoever, there you go, that. And there's a splash park a couple miles down the road another way. You know, if I'm really down for a pool, you know, there's water spots all around here I can go to. And, you know, there you go. But I did buy some railroad ties because I was going to make I guess, a outline for the pool's gonna go at, so I can fill it up full of dirt, well, somewhat dirt, and then put sand down and make it more ideal for being level. The good thing about not having the pool is I can go ahead and get those other pieces out here and set it up like the outside perimeter frame layout for the pool to sit on, and then basically just take my sweet ass time filling it in a little bit by a little bit, and then eventually getting the sand put down, then getting the pool next year, and hopefully it goes down in price some. But you know, if it doesn't, you know, it is what it is. And you know, if it takes me another 2 years to get one, you know, hell, it'll be 2 years before I get one. I've been dabbing in e-scrap kind of stuff here lately. Um, Gold's almost $3,500 an ounce. Silver's about $33 an ounce. And I figured instead of buying it, I'll just go through e-scrap and do it that way. And it's going to be a chemistry experiment and mad scientist experiment kind of thing. But I mean, there's enough stuff. I mean, I won't get rich off of it, but you know, at least I'll have a little bit on hand. I got about a 50-gallon trash can right now full of motherboards and chip readers and RAM sticks and all kinds of other stuff. A good portion of it has been depopulated. I got like the components and the chips and all the stuff off the boards separated in containers. I've been getting a lot of stuff online for free, so I don't have to pay for anything. And the free stuff is the better stuff because it contains everything I'm looking for. And then I save the copper to one side and I save the brass on another side, and you know, I got containers of, you know, a little bit of everything. And anything that's considered like tin, metal, anything like that, it goes in my other pile of scrap metal stuff. Well, actually it don't. I put it in a bag and I tie it up and take it over there and stick it with all my other stuff. When it gets hauled off, then all that stuff goes to there, and very little of anything gets thrown away. Most of the things that I receive is, well, about 90% metal, and maybe 5% of it's plastic. And even some of the plastic I still take and dump in a recycling area. And whether or not it gets used for recycling or not, it's, you know, it's not up to me. But I do my part and to recycle everything except for the chips and some of the capacitors and stuff like that, because that's what contains the gold and the silver and the palladium and platinum and everything else. So once I get me a very adequate amount of parts and pieces built up, that's when I'm going to process everything. But I've seen videos of people online that do like very little. I mean, I would say very little, but they do like maybe a pound here, a half a pound there kind of thing, and they get like a gram of one specific item or maybe at most about 3 to 5 grams, which even at 3 to 5 grams, it's still good, because you figure if gold's $3,500 an ounce almost, you're looking at about 95 to a little over $100 a gram for what the content piece is. So that's still a decent amount. But I'm not doing it to, like I said, get rich. I'm just gonna keep, doing piddling with it and doing different things. And I'm just gonna, build up enough to where I can basically smelt it down and get one decent sized piece of it, and be done with it. And I would say be done with it, but after I get a decent amount, I can just store it back. And worst case scenario is something might happen later down the road where I might have to sell it to pay for medical bills, or hospital stay or something like that. But if none of that occurs, then whenever my time comes and I kick the bucket, it'll go to whichever one of the kids, and they can divide it up, cut it in half, fight over it. I'll be dead and gone, so it won't matter to me. But I do have a small collection of other things that here soon I am going to do a living will, and have it kind of set up for, just in case, because nobody really knows when your time's coming. So it's better to be a little prepared than, be caught with your pants down. But I have been working on adding more fruit producing items around this area, clean it up a little bit, repurpose, like this where the goat pen was. We've took the fence down. I gotta clean up a lot of the branches and twigs that has fallen out and over this past winter, and get that area cleaned up enough so when the grass grows, you don't have sticks and all kinds of other crap growing up through the grass. It is partial. It does get some sun. Not a lot of sun. It's a little bit more than a partial shade. So I gotta figure out something I can stick over here that's gonna thrive in partial sun and won't overgrow, won't get or underproduce or something like that. So I got my homework ahead of me on that one. Market started April 13th of this month. I've not been to it yet. The reason for that is I got too much around here I need to take care of. So before I even go to market is basically going to be when I get enough stuff around here done and taken care of, to where I don't feel like I have to put something off in order to do something else. The back porch has been started on. Majority of it's done on the floor part. I'm lacking, there was a mathematical error when we built the frame of it. I got a space, it's about 3 inches on one side and 3 inches on the other side that's lacking, so I'm going to probably get a single board or a half a board. Well, actually just get a board and saw it down the one way and saw it down the other way and just patch it in that way and be done with it. Once that's done, I already got the step ladder on the back porch. I gotta hang up another board, but before I hang the board up, I want to get that. It's a rubberized material. You stick it across the surface thing, so when you attach a board into it and you drill, you mount it. It keeps the water from backtracking around the board area and going back through and rotting everything out. I've used it before. Stuff works great. It's wonderful. It's great to use, especially for decks and like overhang for porches. Stuff that's miraculously works great. I just can't remember the name for it. But I know it's a rubber mat that's sticky on both sides, and that's all I remember. But probably, I don't know, May or June, I'm gonna see if I can find somebody to help me start the framing part for the roof part of it, and so probably by midsummer I should have at least the start of the roof put on, and if nothing else, uh, by October I'll have at least some walls put up around it. It won't be completely done the way I want it to be, but it will be enclosed enough to where it'd be like a mud room. And I do have insulation inside the house, which I'm going to put in the ceiling part first, and then whatever's left over I'll use in the walls. And yeah, at least it'll be a little bit warmer than just being a cold ass mud room. It is 18 foot long and about 8.5 foot wide. So I'm going to have a decent little space in there, because like I told the old lady, once that thing has the roof on it and some of the, at least a couple of the walls up on it, I'm going to get some shelvings and probably take some of the ones I have in my side green room and take them out there on the mudroom area that's going to be sorta, and I'm going to store my cooking containers, my trays, my pots, and everything else for canning. I'm going to put that out there. I am going to have I was going to try to get one this year, but until it got, there's no sense in buying anything for it until it actually has a roof and walls up. But I want to get a stainless steel table to stick out there, so whenever I start doing, more baking, more or less, kind of things, I can start my stuff out there and, set the food containers on that, or set certain types of food on there where it'd be, out of the kitchen area, away from everybody else. And if I screw up on something, it's going to be on me, and that way I can't blame anybody else for doing something that's going to cause me to screw up. But yeah, that's what that's going to be used for. And then I probably would take my other full-size bed I have out there on the side area by the shed, sand it down really, really good, and primer it, paint it, get some rails for it, set it up on the back area back there. And so say if somebody comes in to visit and they need a place to sleep, there you go. But yeah, it's gonna be like my own, like, I guess you call it a man cave, but it's not gonna be a cave. It's gonna be like a mud room. But I'm gonna put a lot of the things that I have collected over time, put some shelving in there, and put some knick-knack kind of things, and some of the things I had grown up as a kid out there. And I might have to get some of the antique stuff I have in the house that I have put out there, and just make it is what it is kind of thing. Bathroom is almost completely done. Got to get the vanity hooked up with the water lines. We have everything to do it. We just got to get the water lines hooked up. Hook up the water control valve for the shower and bathtub. Do the trim work around the ceiling and the floor, and hook up the light fixture, and everything will be good to go. So I am kicking. I'm still alive. I shaved my beard off the other day. I got a bunch of stubble here, which I'm going to take the electric razor to, and take this down so I can be stubbly clean shaven. I'm not going to be razor shaving, but I'll be electric clipper shaving at least. I'll probably keep it like this all the way up until probably about September, and then I'll start letting it grow out again, and I won't cut it again until sometime next April, as long as I'm still kicking. Knock on some wood. But everything's been going, you know, I can't complain, and if I could, it wouldn't do any good. When my late father-in-law was still alive, he would sit there and tell people all the time, don't stress over things you have no control over. And he is 100% right. So instead of stressing over things, I'm just kind of like, it is what it is, you know. If it happens, it happens. If not, then it is, I don't care anymore. I'm getting to that point. I'm going to be 52 next coming month, and I just don't care anymore. It'd be great if certain things take place, and if they don't, then I'll go without, or I'll do without, or I'll make do with what I have. And when I was in my teens, I spent every dime I could get a hold of. In my 20s, I spent my money on things that I thought was important. And in my 30s, everything that I spent money on in my 20s, I sold. And I bought a few things in my 30s, but it wasn't nothing major. And in my 40s, I was like, you know what? I'm going to dabble in a little of this and a little of that and, everything else. And now I'm just like, I'm like my mom. I don't know how long I have left on this earth. I don't want to keep acquiring things to make a burden on my kids when my time comes. So, I ain't worried about it. I don't want to say I'm saving up for retirement, but I'm definitely trying to keep my bills at a lower pace. I'm paying almost double what my house payment is, so I'm trying to pay it off a lot faster than what I had been. I got a couple of toys this year, nothing major. I got me a little motorbike. It's like a trail bike. It's fun to play with around the, up and down the roadway and around the yard a little bit, and off in some other parts of higher brushy kind of areas. Junior rides it too. Actually, both kids ride it too. They ride it more than I do, but I still ride it nonetheless. Something to have fun with while you're not doing nothing. I do plan on going fishing some this year. I was planning on going mushroom hunting this spring, but I never did that because it rained so much. Everything was so nasty and muddy, it just wasn't worth my time. We are going to go metal detecting in May sometime. There's a few spots actually, and if I can remember to take my camera with me, I'll take my camera and we'll go. Whenever we go metal detecting, I'll take the camera with me, and I might record some. I got my chicken still, and that's about it. And I gotta go out here in a little bit and gather some eggs. But other than that, that's about it really. So, and my indicator light's flashing. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna shut up. And I'll see y'all again soon. I know it's been a long time since I put one up, but it is what it is. Until then, keep your nose clean and powder dry, and everything should be okay. Hopefully. I'll see y'all again later.